Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Shranvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti surutsatam नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिके. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 23, verse number 11. अस्यानया भगवतः परिकर्मशुद्ध सत्त्वात्मनस्तदनुस्मं स्मरणानुपूर्त्या ज्ञानं विरक्तिमदभुन्निशीतेन येन चिच्छेदसंशयपदं निजजीवकोशम्. Synonyms. Tasya is anaya, by this, bhagavataha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, parikarma, activities in devotional service, Shuddha, pure, transcendental, Sattva, existence, Atmanaha, of the mind, Tat, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Anu Samsmarana, constantly remembering, Anupurtya, being correct, perfectly done, Jnanam, knowledge, Virakti, non-attachment, Mat, possessing, Abhuta, became manifested, Nishitena, by sharpened activities, Yena, by which Chicheda becomes separated. Samshaya Padam, position of doubtfulness, Nija, own. Jiva Kosham, encagement of the living entity. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. By regularly discharging devotional service, Prithu Maharaj became transcendental in mind and could therefore constantly think of the lotus feet of Lord. Because of this, he became completely detached and attained perfect knowledge by which he could transcend all doubt. Thus, he was freed from the clutches of false ego and material conception of life. Purport. In the Narada Pancharatra, devotional service to the Lord is likened unto queen. When a queen gives an audience, many maidservants follow her. The maidservants of devotional service are material opulence, liberation, and mystic powers. The karmis are very much attached to material enjoyment. The jnanis are very anxious to become freed from material clutches, and yogis are very fond of attaining the 8 kinds of mystic perfection. From the Narada Pancharatra, we understand that if one attains the stage of pure devotional service, he also attains all the opulences derived from fruitive activities, empiric, philosophical speculation, and mystic yoga practice. Srila Bilva Mangala Thakura therefore prayed in his Krishna Karunamrita, my dear Lord, if I have unflinching devotion to you, you become manifest before me personally, and the results of the fruitive activity and empiric philosophical speculation, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, become like personal attendants and remain standing before me as if awaiting my order. The idea here is that the jnanis, by culture of Brahma Vidya, spiritual knowledge, struggle very hard to get out of the clutches of material nature, but a devotee, by dint of his advancement in devotional service, automatically becomes detached from his material body. When the devotee's spiritual body begins to manifest, he actually enters into his activities in transcendental life. At present, we have contact a material body, material mind, and material intelligence, but when we become free from these material conditions, our spiritual body, spiritual mind, spiritual intelligence become manifest. In that transcendental state, a devotee attains all the benefits of karma, jnana, and yoga. Although he never engages in fruitive activities or empiric speculation to attain mystic power, automatically mystic powers appear in his service. A devotee does not want any kind of material opulence, but such opulence appears before him automatically. He does not have to endeavor for it. Because of his devotional service, he automatically becomes Brahmabhuta. As stated before, this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14.26. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati tetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who is engaged in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transits the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Because of his regular discharge of devotional service, a devotee attains transcendental stage of life. Since his mind is transcendentally situated, he cannot think of anything but the lotus feet of the Lord. This is the meaning of the word samsmarana anupurtya. By constantly thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord, the devotee immediately becomes situated in Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva refers to that platform which is above the modes of material nature, including the mode of goodness. In the material world, the mode of goodness is considered to be representative of the highest perfection, but one has to transcend this mode and come to the stage of Shuddha Sattva or pure goodness, where the three qualities of the material nature cannot act. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura gives the following example. If one has a strong digestive power after eating, he automatically lights a fire within his stomach to digest everything and does not need to take medicine to aid his digestion. Similarly, the fire of devotional service is so strong that a devotee does not need to act separately to attain perfect knowledge or detachment from material attraction. A jnani may become detached from material attraction by prolonged discussion on the subject of knowledge and may, in this way, finally come to the Brahmabhuta stage. But a devotee does not have to undergo so much trouble. By virtue of his devotional service, he attains the Brahmabhuta stage without a doubt. The yogis and jnanis are always doubtful about their constitutional position. Therefore, they mistakenly think of becoming one with the Supreme. However, a devotee's relationship with the Supreme becomes manifest beyond all doubt, and he immediately understands that his position is that of eternal servant of the Lord. Jnanis and yogis without devotion may think themselves liberated, but actually their intelligence is not as pure as that of devotees. In other words, the jnanis and yogis cannot become factually liberated unless they become elevated to the position of the devotees. Arya Krishnena Param Padam Tata Patanti Ado Nadra Yushmad Anugriyaha. Bhagavatam 10.2.32. The jnanis and yogis may rise to the highest position, Brahman realization, but because of their lack of devotion onto the lotus feet of the Lord, they again fall down into material nature. Therefore, jnana and yoga should not be accepted as the real process for liberation. By discharging the devotional service, Maharaj Prathu automatically transcended all these positions. Since Maharaj Prathu was Shaktavesha incarnation of the Supreme Lord, he did not have to act in any way to attain liberation. He came from the Vaikuntha world or the spiritual sky in order to execute the will of the Supreme Lord on the earth. Consequently, he was to return home back to Godhead without having to execute jnana, yoga, and or karma. Although Prithu Maharaj was eternally a pure devotee of the Lord, he nonetheless adopted the process of devotional service in order to teach the people in general the proper process for executing the duties of life and ultimately returning home back to Godhead. नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे. I would like to seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas and thank you for giving me an opportunity to purify myself. Please forgive me for any shortcomings. In this verse, Prithu Maharaj practiced Vanaprastha so nicely along with his wife, and he practiced how one can fix his mind completely on remembering the Lord. Prabhupada explained, although Prithu Maharaj was practicing devotional service, he attained the stage of Shuddha Sattva. In first paragraph, it says, Karmis are very much attached to material enjoyment. Gyanis are very anxious to become free from material clutches. Yogis, they are very fond of attaining the 8 kinds of mystic perfection. And the bhaktas, they only aspire for loving pure devotional service. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhyalila 19.149 says, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Atta Eva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Ashanta. Because the devotee of the Lord Krishna is desireless, he is peaceful. Fruity workers desire material enjoyment, Jnanis desire liberation, and yogis desire material opulence. Therefore, they all are lusty and cannot be peaceful. In Bhagavad Gita 5.29, the verse Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvalokam Maheshwaram. Devotee understand that Krishna is the ultimate entertainer. He is the ultimate controller. And that is the peace formula also that Prabhupada always quotes. Who's supposed to enjoy everything? Krishna saying that everything should be offered to him and he's a controller of everything and he's a friend of all living entities. And that is how we get the peace. And in third canto 3.25, Krishna explains how the devotee does not deserve even the impersonal liberation. There are different types of liberation like Salukya, Sarupya, Samipya, Sashti. Even though all these liberations are there, but rejects the liberation because they want to do the service to Lord, and that should be the mood of the devotee. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Prabhupada always quote the verse Ata Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyaihi sevon mukehi jimhadav swayam eva spurati adaha. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him. So we can't understand Krishna by the senses. He says that we can understand through what he is telling us to start with our tongue. So first thing is to start with tongue, chant the mantra, eat prasadam always. So by doing these 2 activities, what will happen is we understand Krishna slowly, step by step. And so we know how important the chanting is. It's like the cleansing of our heart. We have a lot of dust in our heart, and all the anarthas are there. So all these anarthas in the heart will cleanse by chanting process. And by gradually chanting without offense, we also can come to the platform of the Shuddha Sattva. And bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato jnatva vishadetat anantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality as He is the only devotional service by the devotional service. And when one is in the full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of the God. That verse from Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Uh, Again, in this purport, it says, Lord gives devotee the opulence, although they don't desire, Lord awards the liberation. Devotee not willing to have opulence, but bhakti always offers to them. Pure devotee are interested in chintamani of the devotional service, not in the form of the silver or gold. That's the analogy that is given then. There is one more analogy that Chataka bird always drink the only rainwater. So similarly, pure devotee only tastes sweetness of the bhakti alone. In this verse, the samsmarana anupatya, because of his regular discharge of the devotional service, a devotee attains the transcendental stage of life. Since his mind is transcendentally situated, he cannot think of anything but the lotus feet of the Lord. And by constantly thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord, the devotee immediately becomes situated in the Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva refers to that platform which is above the modes of the material nature, including the mode of goodness. So Prithu Maharaj came to the stage of Shuddha Sattva by constantly remembering the Lord's lotus feet. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, he says, Bhakti is enough, no need to practice, no need to do anything else. So knowledge and detachment appeared. And he gave the analogy also, if you have the good digestive power, you don't need any medicine for the digestion. So similarly, the fire of the devotional service is so strong that a devotee does not need to act separately to attain perfect knowledge or detachment from material attraction. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Asvairagyam Jnanam Cha Yad Ahaitukam. Yogis and jnanis, karmis, they doubtful of constitutional position. Jnanis and yogis may rise to the highest position, Brahman realized, but because of their lack of devotion onto the lotus feet of the Lord, they again fall down into the material nature. A devotee understand the position as the eternal servant of the Lord. And Prithu Maharaj practiced the intense jnana by which destroyed subtle body, which was cause for the doubt of the Prithu incarnation of the Lord, spiritual body. And humility arising from devotional service. He considered himself like an ordinary person. He felt he had material subtle body in order to destroy. He took the path of Gyan, showing his greatness of humility because of the devotional service. Prithu Maharaj as a Palana Shakti, he set an example for all of us. Yad yad acharati shreshtas. That Bhagavad Gita 3.21 verse. So although Prithu Maharaj was eternally a pure devotee of Lord, he nonetheless adopted the process of devotional service in order to teach the people in general the proper process for executing the duties of life and ultimately returning home back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for giving me opportunity. Hare Krishna.